Okay. Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I begin in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. May Allah grant me the power and wisdom to convey a clear and succinct message of how we should improve ourselves, our businesses, and the overall global community. So topic for today, do you need stability or innovation? Innovation being a very interesting and important topic and very close to my heart. I've been researching on the Kotler's models and all sorts of things that are happening around innovation globally, and I've been starting to pick up the patterns and the direction of the global businesses towards ethical values, and you might have heard about corporate social responsibility, CSRs, and the Western world, they are moving from CSR towards CSVs. I will touch upon that later on, and I see that as an emerging pattern for ethical businesses. That is the premise of any Islamic business on a Muslim business model. I'll start with the quotation from Einstein, and I sometimes do that to help us verify. He defined insanity as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Let me say that again. Doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. Do you see that pattern in your daily life? Does that sound familiar? From your personal life to social life to business life, are we the people who just keep doing the same thing? We go to work at 9 o'clock, we come back at 5, we have a lunch break, we have a salah break, we have a consistent pattern in our lives, and we meet the same friends over the weekends, and we do the same business with same people all the time? If we are, then there is an element of confusion in there, because being humans, we need to understand the importance of variability. That's why a Muslim's life or any business life, it has to be continuously improving rather than maintaining. So we have to be consistent, stable. However, a regular innovation, I mean innovation in a positive way, towards achieving higher goals, towards extraordinary excellence. That's the premise of our life and our business. So Einstein said that because he was a scientist. I am saying that because I feel businesses need to learn from that, and there is a lot to learn. The traditional way of doing businesses does not work anymore. You can see all the time the new businesses keep coming up and they take over, while the existing huge businesses, they keep moving at a slower pace, and ultimately if they are not careful, not innovative enough, they are taken over by the new entrants. So either we do sustainable innovation or we do disruptive innovation. We have to innovate, and there is this kind of a balance in there that we need to find. To quickly mention a couple of things. While I've been working with these different verticals and the world's biggest companies and helping them improve their motivations, productivity, and innovation, I've seen this pattern multiple times, that especially the mature organizations, they struggle quite a lot with how to handle challenging situations, how to become more innovative. Sometimes they find a product that is wonderful, that the market loves, and they become the product leaders and everything happens. And with the passage of time, because they keep doing the same thing over and over again, they do not see different results. Their market share starts diminishing because the competition starts picking up on those gaps and patterns. And that is what I'm going to touch upon. I'm going to take you through 3 key bits today. One is the stability, second is innovation, and then how innovative stability works. And there was a case study that my own one. So I helped a large global telecom asset management company in transforming their very mature portfolio, a £100 million worth portfolio, to something more innovative and more productive. So question to the audience, what do you see on the screen? And I'll give you about a minute quickly to play this. Ali, if you can Start saying out those words that people type.
See a black spot, black dot. Circles, white circles, array format.
Okay. So I just wanted to highlight one small thing, which is we are, as human beings, our schooling and education system ruins our creativity and puts us in a box of thinking that everything has to be normal, everything has to be consistent. There are rules put in the schools, in the classrooms, throughout our lives, and we feel that this inconsistency is bad, and that is a curse of the industry right now. If we think being inconsistent is an issue, then there is a problem, but that's not a problem for everybody. For the immature organizations, being inconsistent is a sin. We have to be very disciplined, very organized, very proper, very consistent in those terms. But for larger mature organizations, consistency becomes a sin. Why? Because they are mature enough to have reaped the benefits of market share. So people understand the consistency in their products and in their themes and everything. However, as the human nature goes, we need to keep engaging in different ways. We need to improve continuously, and that has been a recurring challenge. So what you see on the screen right now, if you see the black dot, it's fine. It's not a negative reflection of yours. It's the system's issue. Why did we ignore the majority of the things that are consistent? Why did you just pick up the black dot? Because different stands out. Being different stands out. And that is sometimes the definition of extraordinary. Sometimes we break the norms to become different just for sake of becoming different. That's not worth it. We have to be different to add value. And that is what we're going to discuss near the end, which is instead of doing corporate social responsibility, we need to go towards corporate social value, CSV. And large organizations are already understanding this pattern, and they feel that this is the direction the industry will take. Unless you are adding value to the global economy or a local economy, by local I mean globally local, we will not be able to survive. Large corporations will really struggle later on if they are not adding value to the society. Skip this. In our normal business routines, if we are having everything in a consistent way and we're doing same things over and over again, we are bound to get tired. And when we are tired, we start challenging our own thoughts on, is there a purpose of life? Is there a purpose of work? What's the end to this tunnel? We are going in a dark tunnel and we are aiming for something, but we don't know where. We're shooting arrows in the dark. All that adds to the stress, and the team's motivation goes down. Because every time you finish a project, the next project starts and the same grind starts. So you keep on going without really celebrating and enjoying the imaginative and creative nature of human beings. We keep doing our jobs, we fulfill our hours, and if we just go there for fulfilling the hours, we have missed the point. Companies should hire people to innovate, to be creative, to introduce new stuff, to do something valuable, not just coming to work and doing the routines without a clear objective. That's a clear difference between practices and principles. If we keep doing the practices without understanding the principles, ultimately we will lose motivation. And a simple example, every day we wake up. What is the purpose of our life? We need to understand that. Allah Ta'ala has put it in us through a system, through the authentic sunnah, that we need to plan our day before sunrise. And when we plan, that means we start with the name of Allah, we ask Him for help, for guidance, and we try to do better than the last day. So we need to do the verification of the last day of what happened, and then we improve. So it's a continuous battle, and because we don't know the end of our lives, that uncertainty brings the fun of life. So that means any moment, this might be the last moment of our lives. So keeping that in mind, we need to do the best we can. And if we keep doing the best we can, Allah will keep rewarding us. And if He rewards us, then we don't need anything else to motivate. So coming to innovation. In your chat box, can you please answer one question? So in interest of time, I'll just reduce this. Just answer one question. Can we add value without variability? That's the third question on the screen. Can we add value without variability? I'll just give you 30 seconds for that. Just ponder over it.
No. Simple.
Ali, any answers yet?
So for one, from Mr. Rehan, simply no. Then Sahim, depends on the context. Anybody else?
Okay. So in lean terms, some of you might have heard about lean and all sorts of Six Sigma and other stuff. In lean terms, value is something the customer is willing to pay for. If the customer is willing to pay for something, that means we are adding value. What does that mean in the practical terms? Our meetings, our day-to-day project management activities, all those activities. Is the customer really paying for those meetings for status updates, or is he actually asking us to deliver something valuable to them? And while we are delivering it, are we actually delivering what the customer really wants, or what we can actually deliver? These questions are fundamental to our day-to-day businesses, and I'll come to answer this bit in the form of a quote in the end. Let's skip this one. From competition point of view, who would have thought 5 years ago in Nokia that Apple and Google will be fighting for the first and the second place in the mobile global market? Nokia used to own the business. Nokia used to be the mobile company, the only one, no competition nearby. And suddenly, they lost everything. Now Apple and Google are competing, and others are trying to enter. How did that happen? Was Nokia not the market owner? Were they not innovative? No, definitely they were. Were they not consistent? Very consistent. Was their quality high? Definitely yes. All those mobiles, we do remember, I was one of the users as well. They were very well designed, nice, simple mobiles. They did the work that they could, and they had loads of models that fulfilled different market segments. But what was the problem? They became the victims of their status quo. They thought delivering higher quality within the same segment to the customers will make them happy. That is a misled assumption. In innovation, we need to make sure we keep exploring different things. Sometimes the customers can't tell us what they want. We need to come up with ideas, and the systems that we run in our organizations, the methodologies that need to enable that innovative mindset, the policies, the project management practices, everything has to allow and enable that creativity. Otherwise, market leading one day can lead to a disaster next time. The Standard & Poor's ratings, they used to define the stability of the companies. The huge stable companies that managed to enter the S&P 500 rating, they used to stay there for 25 to 35 years. That was a very long time. They were companies worth billions. Now, the same standard rating only ensures, or actually just highlights, that organizations stay there for 10 to 15 years. That is less than half the time that used to be. So even though you are S&P 500 right now, your lifespan has reduced. What does that actually mean to the businesses? That means we need to continuously innovate. We have the core business, we maintain that, but we continuously and we make sure that all the useful new initiatives are explored in parallel. Another interesting example of the disk drive industry. I think that this is the most interesting pattern in technology. We have all been experienced the growth and the expansion of storage in our lives. Those good old days when GBs was unimaginable, and then suddenly larger hard drives came in, and then we said, whoa, so now we can store the larger pictures and larger things. We used to carry out those floppy drives. There were no USBs, and storage was a premium. Now, in a small USB that fits within a key, that it can store more data than the mainframes they used to in the past. How did that happen? Interestingly, on the screen, if you can see, the six actually, the variations of these drives are shown. I'll only go through, and in the interest of time, I'll only mention 4 of them. The 14-inch disk drive, the 8-inch, 5-inch, and the 3.5-inch. These disk drives were the biggest innovation in the technology industry at that time. Why? Because they were dealing with the storage, and all the systems were dependent on storage. So at that time, if you came up with a hard drive that was very reliable and had good storage and speed, you would gain market share, but the margin was low. So 14-inch disk drive innovators, they used to own the market, and they used to enjoy the 60% margin. They did invent 8-inch drives. They did invent 3.5-inch drives. Their engineers were very, very polished and very, very innovative. Those presentations were done to the executive. They were not interested because they were not users of the smaller machines. They were the mainframe users. So they rejected those ideas. The hole in the market segmentation, the 8-inch drive they invented, they launched, they took over the market, and the 14-inch disk drive perished. Interestingly, this was another company, and then the 5-inch guys did the same to the 8-inch ones, and the 3.5-inch production companies came in and they got rid of the 5-inch. So every new segment that was introduced, it was taken over by a new entrant rather than the existing stable organization. And that's the message of today. We need to make sure that we do the best. We have the extraordinary quality. However, the important thing to notice is if we keep improving the quality of our current product that is market lead, and we don't think about innovative initiatives around the market or holes that we are leaving for the competitors or new entrants to come in, we are aiming for disaster. It's like shooting yourself in the foot if you reject the innovations that your engineers are coming up with. If we just, and the industry, interestingly, all these disk drive producers, they go to the customer. They did, but just listening to the key customers is not enough as well. So even though they were stable, they were having all these consistent methods in place, and they were continuously improving the quality within the same segment, because they were only listening to the customers who were paying them high. They had less overhead and they took over the market. With the 40%, they earned more than the ones who were doing 60%, because mini mainframes into PCs, and from PCs it becomes laptop, and now you know, so that became a giant anyway. So this is for me, that's the key message from today. We need to learn from this type of industry. It is not this stability alone. It has to be innovative stability. And what I did recently with one of the organizations, it was a 1.5-year engagement. We were called in and we were asked to improve this mature organization, make it more innovative, and improve the motivation of the teams. It's a very subjective matter to say, I'm going to improve the motivation of a team. So they said, our desired outcomes out of your engagement is we need to reduce the demotivating hamster wheel feeling. We need to enable a conducive and engaging environment. We need to establish a platform for disruptive innovation and ideas, and then enhance productivity. Interestingly, mature organizations always ask for productivity last. They ask for innovation and motivation, because highly motivated people will be more innovative, and with more innovation and motivation you get productivity as a byproduct, because people enjoy their work. When they enjoy their work, they are more productive anyway. So we took that challenge and we started the assessments, and within those assessments we found out the core burning issues, and within those burning issues 4 initiatives that we started, and I'm going to just skim through this quickly in the interest of time. Practical brainstorming, intra-vertical collaboration, inter-vertical collaboration, innovation weeks into release planning. Now what I mean by inter-vertical collaboration, meaning within an organization, if you have a large portfolio, you will have multiple verticals, multiple aims of different business units within the departments. So for example, in this organization we had the utilities, we had the telecom, we had the all the other bits as well, and energy, and these 3 areas, they had their different programs in place, and those programs are part of a single portfolio. Now if you're producing different programs within a portfolio, your programs or their teams do not meet each other in a normal way. They treat the other people as aliens. There is less communication. With that less communication, there is low collaboration, almost none, and there is a blame culture. We need to address that blame culture to enable practical brainstorming, have open discussions on how to plan a portfolio, and then have fun together as well. It is not just within the teams, it is overall organization or departments fun that counts. The environment has to improve to motivate the people. So that's what we did. The 4 things the actions that we planned. Portfolio prioritization, we broke down the vision into backlogs, and those backlogs, where I'm using a specific terms from a specific methodology called agile, and some of you will be familiar with that. It is not purely agile that we apply, it is the key things that help an organization improve, and it could be agile, lean, Six Sigma, Kanban, normal PMI stuff. It's all valid, all workable, as long as the organization benefits from them. And people have to look at their methodologies very carefully if they really want innovation out of their teams. So I will skip this, won't go into the details. But for example, what lies in front of you, each post-it note is approximately £1 million worth of a project. And in total, this is about 100 million portfolio. Looks like a child's play right now, but that's what it is. Interestingly, the teams got together, you can see the pictures down there. They are sorry. Okay. This the teams got together. They were having these collaborative sessions where they discussed the programs in detail, what they were going to do next in the next year. And these are not just the senior managers, not just the product line leaders. These are not the people who just deal with the portfolios. There are developers in there. There are team members, experts, architects, all sorts of people in there to make sure that we make informed decisions. We have experts in the room who can help us make decisions and draw the dependencies across large programs. Very, very important for the portfolios to be managed like that. I've seen the organizations who treat their portfolios as a secret. Only portfolio managers are able to see the details. There is very limited input from the team who is going to develop it. Once the program managers commit to a portfolio, they live with it. They have all sorts of cushions in there. When the teams get into trouble, there are contractual issues. There are all, I can't list all of them. If I have to spend a day on this to explain how painful that is. The simple way is we need to enable communication. We need to collaborate. And this is how we created it. So we actually made it more interactive. We got people involved and we did it together. So even though we had the collaboration in place, the teams were still going through a stable cadence of their day-to-day practices. They would meet up, we would discuss, they would enable their dependencies to be highlighted, but in a respectful way. So it wasn't a blame culture later on. But with these initiatives of collaboration, the teams found a way to communicate. However, that doesn't address the innovation issues. The innovation had to be captured very, very carefully, because the specialists and the experts, when they are in the room, the ideas are flowing. Those ideas might be very, very small for the people who are giving the ideas, but could be critical for the product. These things need to be picked up. Like, for example, for Apple, Steve Jobs had to stop so many amazing ideas in favor of even better. So he would have these presentations and the viability discussions and the demos with the experts, with the teams, and he would have to stop the useful projects as well, because they didn't make sense as compared to the others. The power of portfolio management in an innovative way is to be able to say no to things, to be able to know what not to do, not necessarily just what to do. And that fundamental concept of just measuring return on investment as compared to cost of delay over delivery. So for innovation to be part of a portfolio, we enable them by having this innovation week concept. You might have heard about G20, which is the Google 20%. They used to give 20% of their week to each employee to do whatever they want. What does that mean? That means they can do what they want from a technology or passion delivery point of view. They could learn new things, they could develop new things, and Google has been enjoying that for a while. Pixar, very well-known animation company, world's best, I would say, they had a culture. They said every week their people, and when I say people, even the cleaners, anybody in the organization was allowed to spend 4 hours a week in learning new stuff. So someday a cleaner would come in and they would attend a course, let's say, on corporate governance. While they're going through that, it might spark an idea. And if the idea is good enough, they would give them teams to share those ideas and actually bring prototypes on them. Ultimately, the organization benefits it so much that Pixar still is the most innovative animation company. And the list goes on. Any organization that has succeeded, they have enabled an environment. They have chosen a tailored methodology that helps them enable innovation while maintaining stability. So the original question that I asked, do you need stability or innovation? My answer is still, I want both, and we can have both if we are careful. We have to be very careful in choosing how to manage. The results of our initiatives: we reduce the demotivating hamster wheel feeling, we enable a conducive, engaging environment, and we established a platform for disruptive innovation ideas. All of that results in higher productivity. And we have to understand, human beings, they are motivated by different things. We are all human, we are unique. We do not always get motivated by pay raises. The real motivation comes in when our inner satisfaction kicks in, and that inner satisfaction is a balance between heart and mind. And if we can find a way to engage people actually from their hearts rather than just their brains, the environment improves, the communication within the organization, the collaboration improves, because then the competition is not to show my brain's higher value to others. It's to do with the love that the teams have for each other, and the culture is so cohesive that they become friends and they help each other develop, and ultimately the organizations grow. And that's how the CSVs are going to benefit. Corporate social responsibility is just a tick in the box. You can have all those frameworks in place, but still you might not be adding any value to the society or to the employees themselves. Just sending people to do charitable work is not enough. Organizations need to develop their new product lines to help the local businesses, to help the local people and regional peoples, and those initiatives need to be value driven. They should be measured on what value they have added rather than just ticking the box and yes, we are CSR maturity level 1 and 2. So my message today, one key message from today: innovation can be institutionalized but can never be formalized. The moment you formalize innovation, you have stopped innovation, you have killed it. So try to bring stability in the organizations, try to enable innovation, however give them flexibility. And to give flexibility, there are methodologies and there are experts available who can help you deliver those. We have done these in this region within the UK and abroad, and there are so many others who can. Please do think out of the box. It is time that especially the Muslim Ummah wakes up and they help drive this change towards corporate social value, which is the true business, to the meaning of business from Islamic point of view. Unfortunately, CSR and CSV all are coming from the West. The values that Islam wants us to build into our businesses, we have forgotten those. So my message to you is, we can add variability without adding value. We can add variability without adding value. However, we cannot add value without adding variability. Please do go to work tomorrow, try to change one bit at a time and see the results. Just change your approach from ticking the box to what value have we produced by coming to work today. Why am I here today? What good can I do for my team and for the greater good of the society, rather than just earning the profits. Okay. With that, I think, Ali, I've shortened quite a lot. I had to skip over. I think it's just 5 minutes left. So
yeah, I
understand. Questions.
I understand, and thank you very much, Naveed, for compromising with the time constraints. And folks, we are now open for the Q&A. If you have questions, you could either raise your hand or post it in the question box. To raise your hand, there is a hand icon available on your webinar console. So if you click on it, I'll give you a chance to speak to Brother Naveed. I already noticed there are questions posted in the question box, so let me go over straight from Brother Masroor Rehan, the first one. The question is, don't you think that innovation have to be correctly timed? Any anachronistic thing just won't fly in the market?
Sorry, I missed the last bit. So any asynchronous?
Anachronistic thing or idea just won't fly in the market. It's about the timing of the innovation of the product.
Yes. So okay. So there's quite a big misconception in the industry that successful organizations have been lucky. This quick win mindset of this consumerist society, I would say, that has been a curse. We think that Facebook came in suddenly and it happened. No, it didn't. There was a full system behind it. There are timings issues. Yes, there were other social medias at that time, but there was a specific segment, specific system that supported it to enable it for success. There are hundreds of examples of that. Yes, timing is important. Yes, the concept of TTM, the time to market, and you measure that and you enable that. And for example, very simple way is when Apple used to launch its iPhones, there would be queues outside its stores. Actually, people would queue up even in the cold, very early in the morning, to get that latest gadget. Okay, that was a social pressure that was created to enable this timing, because they had big numbers already who was supporting it. Okay, the first iPhone was not really successful till it became part of a full ecosystem, which was iTunes. Unless iTunes is there, the usage of an iPhone is not an amazing experience as compared to the other phones that were there in the market. So it's not just the timing, it is also to do with the way you enable that system, the motivation of the teams, the people who are involved, even the customers, you can get them engaged. So people actually used to argue who had nothing to do with Apple. They would argue with the people of Nokia users, let's say, and they would take it as if they are representing Apple, and same was throughout the organization. So they built that culture around it. Yes, timing is important, but it is more important to have the right culture in place, right passion in place. And for the passion, it's critical to have a platform of innovation. You don't give the creative option to the teams, you will get less motivation. And with less motivation, you won't get higher productivity or new ideas flowing. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. Let me move to another call or question from Brother Mohammed Al-Rani from Indiana, USA, I believe. What do you think that the innovation and stability or sustainable come from a positive cultural development in an organization? Could you please give us some example from your research experiences?
Yes, so I'll give you the simple example again for clarification purposes. Stability of an organization is the normal basic day-to-day routine work is done well, and the preventive measures are in place to enable loose variability. Now, what that means is, for example, you have a motorway. We are used to going within the speed limits on the motorway. There are speed cameras, and then there are police cars that enforce the speed limits. If the maximum speed limit on the motorways is 80 miles per hour, let's say, why are the sports cars built? Where would people drive? If I drive a normal car for 80 miles an hour and a sports car for the same 80 miles per hour, is that the same experience? No. Same thing for the intellectual knowledge workers. In an organization, when you hire knowledge workers who have high innovative and creative mind, if you treat them as just cogs within a system, just another cog, just another brick in the wall, you kill their creativity, you kill their imagination. Example of Pixar is very, very nice. You imagine there was, when Steve Jobs was kicked out of Apple earlier, he went out and created multiple amazing organizations. One of them was Pixar. Now Pixar challenged the status quo. They said our team will be the most amazing team, and we can have an all-star team, but that won't be enough. We need a culture in place where people are continuously learning and finding those intersections in their day-to-day activities. When I say intersections, meaning when they look at things, they look at them differently. When they experience new things, they come up with new ideas, and there is a platform to share those ideas and to evaluate them and to support them. So have you come across any organization which says any employee can attend any course and we will pay for it? We have a full university in place, 4 hours a week, which is about 10% of their time. 10% of their time of each and every employee every week, and we will support them. And if they come up with great ideas, we'll promote them and we'll make them something else as well. If you haven't, I would highly recommend have a look at Pixar, what they have produced in the recent past, how they have actually influenced the global culture as well. Those same old cartoons are not the same anymore. When these guys launched Neo and or Toy Story and all those things, these are not normal people. Amazing outcome. This amazing outcome does not come with just hiring star players. We need to enable a culture, and that organization gives them the culture. So I think that's a good example to elaborate the point. There are stable systems in place, but these organizations give them flexibility to do whatever they want in those 4 hours, as long as they are learning something, and doesn't have to be directly related to the industry they are in. I hope that answers that question.
Well, thank you very much.
Ali, you still there?
Hello, Brother Naveed, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. I know I can hear you, sir.
Oh, you can hear me now. Maybe there was an issue with the microphone. Well, there are a couple of questions on the formalizing of the innovation. I know you have mentioned that it should be rather institutionalized, but there's an interesting one. What would you recommend to an organization who wants to build an idea bank? How should one structure or filter out the inputs in an organized manner and equally reward the most creative ideas?
Okay, I think that's a very nice question. I should touch upon some points that are very practical. So traditionally, most of the organizations who understand the importance of innovation, they have these idea banks concept. The great thing about idea banks is it's just like a bank. You can put as much money as you want in there, but you don't know what the note numbers are. You don't know when the investment, so it's just like putting an investment in a bank. You go to an investor and you say, okay, invest in these stocks and not in the other ones. Can they ever guarantee that investing in a very specific bond or specific shares would bring profit? No. They can indicate that this appears to be a viable option. From our point of view, idea banks are great if they are utilized well. And to enable them to use them well, and the way Apple does it, you know what the Apple's success, they have about more than 500 billion worth, right? The biggest technology company. They treat these things differently. Instead of just focusing on return on investment, meaning, okay, so this idea looks attractive, they do all the marketing analysis, everything in there, and they say, okay, so if people engage, we'll spend this much money and we'll get this much back over that certain period of time. Those calculations are there in the ROI formulas. The point they miss is the CD3, which is the cost of delay over delivery. I'll say that again. CD3 is cost of delay over delivery. In addition to ROI, we need to do CD3 as well, which means instead of just thinking I'll spend this money and I'm expecting this much return, you also say if I don't do this right now, how much am I going to lose? And that's a very interesting question to ask, especially for Ideas Bank. When people give those ideas, they have a certain perception, a certain gap that they identify in the product segmentation. If we evaluate these with them, and we do that with full honesty, we say, okay, let's thoroughly evaluate what we are suggesting here, and then see if the other parts of the portfolio are going to fulfill the needs of the same concept, this product segment. The key question that we need to answer is cost of delay over delivery. If we can judge that, that has enabled Apple to go from where they were to where they are right now. And they're not going to stay there for long, because other organizations are geared up, they've identified the gaps, and we can see what Samsung is doing to this whole equation and what Google is doing in that similar space, and the other players who are just coming in to fill the gaps in the smaller segments. So Ideas Bank are nice, but they have to be kept fresh, and to maintain their freshness, we need to do them regularly and iteratively, and that again comes to the stable platform that we need, an organization that evaluates those regularly over, let's say, weekly basis or monthly basis, and rewards the ideas that are most valuable from ROI and CD3 point of view, and not just ROI based.
Okay.
Next one, Ari.
Okay, another one. I would love to have a clarification about this definition. Organizational cultural formation is to come first by changing our value, beliefs, and norms.
Organizational culture value needs, sorry, can you repeat that?
Organizational culture formation is to come first by changing our value, beliefs, and norms. I think the brother is requesting for clarification of this definition.
Okay. So, if I understand the statement correctly, the question correctly, the reason why you are asking for clarification on this one is, how does culture make any difference to an organization where conformance is a requirement? For example, larger organizations, they need to manage their employees' progress, their growth, their yearly objectives. How that works is, there are departmental objectives, then there are managers' objectives, and then those objectives are translated or filtered down into next level, and then the next level, ultimately it comes to the delivery teams. Those teams are asked to maintain their alignment of their objectives of the year with the department's objectives. Why is that? That is actually boxing them or making them think in a way that everybody has to think in one direction only, and you have to comply and conform to the norms of the organization. You cannot challenge anything unless there is, even if you find something wrong. Now, a conducive culture, an innovative culture is, you do have those in place, however, challenging the status quo is part of the objectives as well. So those who challenge the day-to-day activities on why we are doing something, for example, why are we having this project status meeting today or every week, that has to be part of the conformance system, so that people can challenge and understand the value of those things. There could be a very valuable status update meeting, however, most of them are useless. Why? Because people are there just to attend them and to give the numbers that they have been giving for the past 2 years, just keep adding them. The value of the meetings or the people's interactions is, you generate ideas and you apply ideas, and you make sure that the culture accepts those ideas and does something with them. I've seen so many large organizations who come in and do the creative stuff and do the brainstorming for you and give you the 5 key areas to work on for the next year, and then nothing happens for a year, because that translation into practical world is a gap. And that's why we don't do that. We go in, we do those 5, let's say 5 key problems of the organization or challenges, and we help them apply that with the coaching, with the live team in the day-to-day activities, to make sure that they benefit from it. So we don't go back to that after a year. We would go there every 2 weeks or every month and verify that something is being applied, something is being done. Because for success or to achieve a goal, we have to be on a path towards achieving that goal. We can't just move in the opposite direction and just keep blaming that we are not making progress or we are not reaching the goal. We have to make sure that that path is paved, and that path from the current situation to the achievement of the goal is all to do with the culture of an organization. The more conducive, the more innovative and challenging culture, the more creative and more innovative the organization will become. I hope that clarifies the.
Certainly, thank you very much. And just we'll take one last interesting question. You suggested companies should hire innovative people to do something new. From HR management perspective, don't you think managing a fleet of such innovative staff could become challenging in administering routine operational tasks? Considering reality of business norms in parallel, you do not want to end up having a demoralized staff who cannot continuously be challenged on innovation.
Okay, so I actually will reverse this question. My suggestion is not to just hire innovative people. My idea is, and my passion is, to make all the people in the organization innovative. So whoever you hire, they could be for any reason, because of their amazing consistent approach to something, or their skill, or their administrative task, whatever. They should be hired to enjoy and be creative in an organization. And human beings by nature are very creative. It's just the system that kills that creativity. The most successful organizations allow people to be themselves, not to be part of just a culture of that organization, of a system where they are completely controlled. Their hands are tied, they can't challenge the status quo, and they can't innovate. So my belief and my strong approach towards this, response to this is, instead of just thinking of hiring innovative people, we need to enable the existing staff and everybody in the organization to be more innovative, and the culture enables that. And that culture cannot be built overnight. There are ways to do it, there are methodologies available. Once we apply those methodologies, the maturer organizations can really benefit from the innovative people. Yeah, I hope that answers it.
Well, thank you very much, Naveed, for your time. I would like to especially thank you on behalf of Mile for your time and taking through all of us through this very comprehensive presentation. I apologize for the inconvenience in the beginning for switching over to you or giving you the rights of presenter, but I'm glad that it worked out. Any concluding remarks that you would like to give before we dismiss out?
Yes, my passion is to see the corporate social value, the CSV, be initiated from Muslim organizations who can actually create these policies within the Gulf region that the whole globe benefits from. We have all the ingredients in place, we have the systems well prepared. It's just the consumerist mindset is not allowing that to happen. Muslim organizations need to be role models, because Muslims, Allah Ta'ala has said in the Quran, we have made you the best nation as an example for the mankind. It's chapter number 3, verse number 110 of the Quran. We need to remember that, and we need to make sure that the next best thing that can happen on earth, or the business initiative comes from the Muslim organizations. And if we can be of help, you're most welcome. Just send me an email. We can discuss how that can happen.
Well, thank you very much once again, Brother Naveed Khwaja from Morfield Birium, for taking a time to give us this presentation. And thank you all of those who participated and for posting quite an interesting questions and making an interactive experience for all of us. We are recording this webinar. A recorded version of this content will be uploaded on our YouTube channel and Mile Community. So please stay tuned to Mile Community for downloading the soft copy of the presentation and to watch the recorded version if you've missed it out or if you want to see it again. Once again, thank you all of those